Hey everyone, Lee here from Parrot Life Behaviour and Training, back for part 4 of our environment series, covering off on outdoor habitats this time. So things like outdoor enclosures and aviaries and how we can utilise those to help prevent or resolve problem behaviours. So here at Parrot Life, we advocate for outdoor aviaries for birds as often as possible and where possible. So here in Australia, we have a pretty mild climate that allows for outdoor time for our parrots through most of the year for the majority of the country. There are some exceptions to this where you might need to be careful during summer or winter, but for the majority of the country, we are pretty lucky and we can have our birds outdoors even during the cooler or the warmer parts of the year at particular times of day. So the reason we advocate for aviaries is because it allows our birds to do a lot of natural species specific behaviours that they otherwise don't get an opportunity to do inside our household, or when they do engage in it inside the house, it can be classed as a problem behaviour. So this can include behaviours like chewing on anything and everything that's available at the time, yelling as long as we aren't too close to our neighbours or as long as it doesn't go on for too much time. It allows them the opportunity to fly, stretch their wings, because even the smallest aviaries are usually bigger than the biggest cages we have in our homes. It gives them the opportunity to get sunshine, so direct sunlight, which is a really critical component to a healthy bird. It allows them to play in the rain if they like the rain. You can add water features so that they can bathe. It gives them the opportunity to get down on the floor and forage without being in danger of being stepped on or chewing a cord. So there's lots of benefits to them being outside in an aviary where they can just be birds without the risk of being birds inside a human household where there are a lot of things that are potentially dangerous for them. So aviaries have a lot of just generally built-in enrichment. So not only do they get access to, UV, rain, fresh air, wind, climate differences, and a variety of perching options, flight, but they also, they can watch wildlife, they can watch what's going on next door, depending on where their aviary is located. So there's a lot of built-in enrichment just by being outdoors as well. There's obviously a lot of thought that needs to go into building an aviary, including things like placement, the type of aviary you're going to build, the materials that you're going to use, things like shelter that you're going to provide for your bird, and safety precautions like how to prevent vermin or snakes from entering, or foxes or any other predators from getting into the aviary. I'm not going to cover off on those today, but we would recommend that if you are looking at building an aviary, if you check out the Home Aviary Design Facebook group, there is loads of ideas in there, and you can ask all sorts of questions. I will drop the link to that group down in the comments for you so you can go and check it out. Today, what I actually want to cover off on is how we can set our aviary up in order to make sure that it is the most enriching and the best setup for the birds that we have. So we're going to talk about that. So there are a number of different types of aviaries available. I'm just going to cover off on a few of those. This is the sort that is a prefabricated tin type aviary. We also have suspended aviaries like the ones you see here. You can also do custom built aviaries like this one and this one here, which is attached to a home instead, or you could go ahead and sort yourself out with a net aviary similar to the one that you see in these photos. Just a note on net aviaries, these are for supervised time only. Once you have your aviary built, you will then need to think about how best to set it up for you and your birds. Some of the factors that will go into your setup include the location in which you have your aviary and the type of species that you are going to have in your aviary. You'll see a few examples here of a variety of different setups for different birds. We're going to show you some videos in a minute and talk you through what has gone into the decisions regarding the setup for these aviaries. Any aviary that is detached from the house should have an airlock door like the one you see here. This helps to prevent your bird from inadvertently escaping when you are entering and exiting the aviary. You'll notice that this aviary is not too cluttered, so there are only 2 perches so the bird can fly. There are several PVC pipe holders to ensure browse, and there is a feeding station. When setting up an aviary, you want to consider the types of bark and timber that you're using. You want a variety of sizes, a variety of bark types. This helps to keep your bird's beak and nails in good condition while also providing enrichment. You can also take into consideration having hanging swing perches, as well as more stable perches, rope perches, such as sisal rope and canopies like the one you see here. Adding features such as the waterfall you see here can add enrichment to your bird's environment. Another consideration when perching your aviary is placement of perches in relation to each other. We want to try to perch an aviary to avoid having other perches sitting underneath the perches your birds are on, as this will lead to them becoming fouled with feces. You also want to ensure that you provide your birds plenty of space to move around. So over perching so that the birds can't fly is not ideal. So try to choose your perching positions that allow for full flight for your birds. All aviaries should include a good sheltered section like the one you see here. This allows your birds to escape from potential inclement weather or cold breezes. This is also where you should be placing your birds' feeding stations to prevent any wild bird feces or other contaminants from infecting it. Depending on how many birds you have, you should have a variety of feeding stations available to prevent any competition between the birds at feeding time. The inclusion of fresh plants, like you see here with the palm trees, is a great way to help keep an aviary cool during the warm summer months, as well as provide your birds a nice source of enrichment. You can also consider misting systems for those aviaries in hot climates. You also really want to think about the substrate that you're going to use for your aviary. There are a number of options, including what you see here, which is a mulch on top of a concrete slab, plain concrete slabs, sand, or even building directly onto a natural surface. When choosing a substrate, you want to take into consideration factors such as predators that might be able to access the aviary, the location of your aviary, how hard it might be to keep clean, as well as the species of parrot that you are keeping. For instance, if you have a cockatoo, like Denby here, you may want to ensure that you have a slab underneath your aviary to prevent them from digging out. When building an aviary, we advocate for building the largest aviary that you can afford and fit in the space that you have. The bigger, the better. So that's our outdoor habitat part of our environment series. We would love to see your aviary designs. So feel free to pop your photos or videos in the comments so we can check them out. If you have any questions, as always, you can get in touch with us. Have a great day.